Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about Sun, Trine, or Sextile to Pluto in your natal chart. So these aspects are very powerful. It is still uncomfortable to have Pluto, the planet of the underworld and, more hidden compulsive energies within us making any aspect to the sun, which is our more outer self, our external self, our purpose, our identity, our ego, there is still a lot of potential insecurity with this aspect. But what it usually ends up doing is creating such a drive for success and for whatever the ego wants, the sun sign. So you have to look at the sun sign, you have to look at the Pluto sign and see, what they're trying to achieve. And you have a lot less resistance from others and from the external world when you have the trine or sextile between the sun and Pluto. You have like a magic touch to situations and things in your life, and you have powerful drives, and you really like whatever it is that you want to achieve as far as your ego goes and for your confidence. You want it like so bad and so deeply that it's like you have a great manifestation power and ability with these aspects. But they're also, like I said, they're not super relaxing, even in any aspect between the Sun and Pluto. There's a real driven nature. There's needs. There's power complexes sometimes, and there can be great leadership ability with the trine and with the sextile, and like I said, kind of like a magic touch, an ability to be in the right place at the right time with the right person, and a real feeling of like good timing when we have these aspects. Like miraculous occurrences even can happen when we have these aspects. But they're still pretty uncomfortable. There can still be a parent, likely the father, who exerts a very domineering influence over the child. And there could be feelings that, like, the child wasn't allowed to be themselves. They were being directed by this external, like, outer force. And so the father figure, in whatever way, shape, or form that took, did have a very powerful influence on the child. However, it is more likely that the influence, whether positive or negative, because it still could have been quite negative with Pluto being involved with Sun, whatever influence they had, it's like the person is able to use it constructively. So there's that real, like that saying, it's all how you use it. And that is something that this person knows deeply. That, like, they may have been given hardships, they may have been given a difficult life, perhaps, but they know that deeply it's all going to be in how they choose to use it. And that gives them a great personal power and a great yeah, like I said, manifestation ability, leadership ability. Yeah, it's a really amazing aspect to see. We can still see some of the struggles, like I've said, of the other aspects with the trine or sextile. Sometimes, in some cases, like I also said about Sun trining Jupiter, the ego can be quite enlarged with the trine to a point where it's exceptionally large. And like I said, there can be a bit of a domineering nature. And the difference between the trine and the sextile and the other hard aspects is that the trine and the sextile, generally people like us a bit more and don't resist our efforts. So this person can be on the very low end extremely manipulative and able to get their way, very cunning, because there's this better sense of timing than with the other aspects. We don't tend to rub people the wrong way as much. These power drives, these ego complexes, can potentially be even more dangerous with the trine or the sextile. So we can see a plutonic person in full effect with these aspects, and it can definitely manifest negatively or self-destructively, where they can go through intense bouts of like wanting to annihilate the self. Like they do need to constantly go through this kind of death rebirth process. So there's this very scorpionic, Scorpio plutonic process happening at all times with their ego. So they will go through many upheavals in their life, but they're usually less likely to resist those as those with the other aspects. Like they're not going to wait until their whole life is falling apart to make the change. They're going to gradually be making changes about themselves all the time. So the lifetime is, in a sense, not stagnant. It's very much, especially with the sextile, it's a constant flow of ego deaths and rebirths. It's a constant transformative transmutation process. So they do not stand still with the trine or sextile, the sun to Pluto. It's a very active aspect. There will, if they do start coming from too egotistical of a place, they will have to die to that ego and be reborn. And it's like being given this trine as a gift, or being given the sextile as a gift, and like spiritual forces or like angelic forces will not let you mess around on this one. Like if you start using this for personal gain or power purposes, like there will be crisis, there will be things have to happen, and then eventually what will happen to the person is they'll kind of catch on and be like, oh, I'm being watched, or like like you want to really be acting from a place of integrity with this aspect, because you do have a lot of power over people. You do have a great ability for success and manifestation, and you want to use that power for good, or there can be the same repercussions that we see with other Sun-Pluto aspects, which is like huge upheaval and crisis of self-image and crisis of self-worth, and like ego deaths will happen with this aspect. So it's not a walk in the park. However, it's definitely, like one of the most powerful aspects to have in the natal birth chart. A lot of what has been said about the conjunction, because I think I did a video about the conjunction already, is very relevant here, but with more of like an ability to like turn it off and on, especially with the sextile. We can kind of like turn off and on our like plutonic powers if we want to with the sextile. With the trine, it's much more inborn. It's not as conscious. It's like we're just extremely plutonic, and there's a constant flow. There's a constant, like, the way that I see it with like Sun-Pluto, it's almost like a very watery energy, like a huge like waterfall, or like a huge river or something, and you can't contain that. That's the thing about the trine of Sun to Pluto, is that it's so strong, it's always moving. It's like, and you have to think of the elements that the trine is taking place in. Like if it's fire, it's obviously like fire energy doing that. If it's water, it's like the water that I'm describing. And Pluto just generally being ruled by Scorpio. That's why I emphasize the water nature, because that's just its natural rulership, is that Scorpio water. But you have to look at the element that the trine is taking place in, and that element is like an uncontrollable force with the trine. There's so much power there. There's so much energy. With the trine, there is likely to be high physical energy, high sexual creative energy, high energy as far as like physical illness in the body and being able to heal yourself. So the body is usually going to be quite healthy with these aspects. There is a power, there's a regenerative power. So like you're able to detox better than some people. You're able to like transmute things in the body and like purify this as far as the body goes, like, getting rid of toxins. Like there's a power in that. There's a gift for that. But then at the same time, a gift shouldn't be wasted. Like you still, with these aspects, even though you probably have pretty good health, you still want to be more health conscious, because it's like with a little bit of effort and a little bit of focus, these people can be like the most powerful people in the world. But it's like you need to kind of focus on it to activate it a bit, especially with the sextile, right? It just takes a little bit of work. And then with the people with the trine might not even realize, they might just be like, oh, isn't everybody like this? It's like, no, this is a gift. This is a real gift to have in your natal chart, to have the power of Pluto working with you in a trine. Still can be very difficult because it's not an easy force for the personality to deal with, but it does bring a lot of personal power. This can also bring a lot of psychic ability, and like I said, to do with timing and success, and like I said, being in the right place at the right time, and knowing how to use our ego energy to get what we want. And so there's a real great ability to like almost like energetically transform worlds, like through our own ego and through our own light. So there's a great charisma with this trine. People and the sextile, people want to listen to you. Like when you speak, when you're doing something, people are looking and they want some of that. So it is natural for leadership because people do naturally see you as like this force of whatever it is. Sometimes it's a force of darkness. It's whoever you choose to be today, right? They're like, whoa. So it's definitely a powerful one. So the lifetime is not superficial. There's no standing around doing nothing. This is a constant transforming force working through you. So it's a big one. It's a big lifetime with great potential. And it's a more deep lifetime. This person is not going to want to deal with superficial things. Their outlook, their basic approach to life is very in depth. They see beyond the surface of things. They see the world in a very unique perspective. They see their place in the world as very significant. They do feel like this strong sense of personal destiny that they must fulfill. So it's very intense to have. It's quite like the conjunction, although it's like I said, it's easier. That's as simple as you can say it. With the easy aspects, it's easier, although I'm sure it doesn't feel easy all the time. It's a gift that you have for, channeling, harnessing the plutonic force. So there's great psychic ability. There's great transformative ability, like any type of work where you're transforming others, helping others is really good. There's probably a strong aura, like I've said, but there's a strong healing energy coming from the aura. There's a real, and that's a part of what the charisma is, right? Like when you're a healer, when you have that healing aura, that frequency that's able to do what your frequency does, the reason there's charisma is because everybody needs healing in something, right? And you have that energy, you have that ability, you have that cultivated from lifetimes. This is something that's been worked on lifetime after lifetime to be born with this trine or this sextile. This is you've worked with Pluto energy in the past. You could have even been like a magician or like, working with energies like that, or like I'm even seeing like potions, or like working as a witch, or like, things like that. Like somehow you've spiritually developed in previous lifetimes to be born with this aspect. So that is why people are drawn to you. But at the same time, it has to be a conscious choice to use it for good, to use this plutonic force for good, this transformative power that you have for good. It's a conscious choice every day. And you will see people with Sun-Pluto aspects, like you see the effects of karma, right? Like if you act in a certain way, it backfires, right? So it's like you're able to see that in the world and in other people as well. You can see when they act in a certain way that then goes and slaps them in the face. Like you're very conscious of that. So like the decisions that you make in your life are crucial this is a big lifetime for you. So I'd love to know your experience of this aspect in your natal chart. If you have it, what has it been like for you, either the trine or the sextile? Or if you know someone, I'd love to know what you think of them with this aspect. My son has this aspect in his natal chart. He has a Taurus sun trine very close to Jupiter and Pluto. And he has a very strong leadership ability. He's very bossy in kind of a cute, harmless way, which is actually a little bit scary at times. But yeah, he definitely has big boss energy in earth signs, right? So it's also very grounded. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch him grow up and see what he does with all of that leadership ability. Anyways, thank you for watching, you guys. Thank you for your requests. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.